Hello, everyone. You are live is what it says. Greetings. Hello, hello. Welcome to December, my beautiful family of light around the world. Let's see. Making sure everything's on. I have this little box. It shouldn't be there. Okay. Well, let's see. I hope we are good for the speed. I'm sorry, I'm checking out on my things today. Welcome to December 2020 to the Light the Way call, our monthly family here. I am so grateful that you're here, that you're a part of this. And as I always tell you, it means so much to me because it truly, truly does. I think about you all throughout the month. So I was thinking again in the last few days about how it is that between the last call we had in November and now, it just feels some days like it's 10,000 years long, and then other days where it feels like it just is flying by. And so thank you. I can't see all the names. Oh, hi, Bruce. Alana, Lilia, Ann, Sandy, Susie, Lilia. Thank you, everyone. I can't see everybody's names quite yet. So as you keep saying them, I will see them. I'm so grateful you're here. I absolutely appreciate and love all of you. You really are in my thoughts and my vibrational alignments throughout the month. And very often I feel you all too, kind of connecting and reaching into the field that we create here, and that we are in alignment with those benevolent light beings that, in a sense, are really a reflection of us. And so I'm so happy you're excited for today. Thank you, Sandy. When I was thinking about how this month from November to December, when I had done my last, the last Light the Way, and I was coming back from being away, and I was so good, and things had shifted. I did a lot of physical stuff, and I know most of you were here with me live, and a lot of you were watching the replay, but I went through I feel like I went through like 6 months in the last 3.5 weeks, whenever it was that we were here last, because ours was delayed 1 week. So personally, that's my experience, is that it's been physically, I had to go through some more physical stuff, and, I'm plugging into that there's a collective healing, that there's a collective, consciousness shifting, and a lot of that is having to happen through our bodies, through our emotions, through the psyche, through transmuting fears, especially from past lives that we are in some ways conscious of, some ways unconscious of. We're transmuting and clearing old patterns. Everything shows up in many ways, especially if you notice in nature, it shows up in patterns. And so as we become more conscious of that at all times, we start to see our own, and we start to see what we want and what we don't want, what's working, what is not working. And then we're going through such a radical outward living life experience that is stepping us through these last changes of what, for many years doing the Light the Way, we really have been building this. We've been building towards this. If many of you were on the calls a few years ago, Osairah was saying about how we were stepping in and ushering in a new age and in a new time. This was numbers of years ago, even beyond even Light the Way. They've been prepping and shining the light on that for us for a very long time. And so, we are really riding it's not a joke when they say, you're like on a roller coaster at an amusement park. It makes me think of that when they say that so often, and we come for it all, as they say. because we really and truly were born for this time, especially depending upon, especially how old you are and how much life experience you have integrated, how much work you have done on the inside, how much consciousness you've, expanded into. That's not a judgment. That's just an owning and an honoring of the soul embodiment that you've come to be. And what happens is we activate, we literally plug in to these next levels of consciousness, downloading to this earth or streaming light to this earth that is going to transform this world, literally is going to transform this world. I look at my 20-year-old sometimes and I think, my God, in 20 years, you'll be 40. And I feel like I was just 40. And 20 years seems like it's a long time. But at the same time, the whole world is going to change. The whole world is going to change. The world is going to change, and it's going to be a lot of shifts and evolving. And now that we're at the end of this one cycle of our calendar year, as we're seeing it, and as even the astrology points to all the things, all of this year was meant to happen. A few years ago, I met my boyfriend, my partner, and when we first started dating, we first started going out, I said, so I just want you to know, these are the kinds of things I think, and I said something along the lines of, this was in 2018. And I said, really, there's going to be something that happens that is, they want to vaccinate basically the whole world. And he kind of looked at me and he was like, yeah, I don't know how they're going to ever do that. I didn't know why, and I didn't know how that was going to come about, but I knew it was a part of our collective walk at this time. So I'm not here to, talk about whether or not I think anybody should do that or not do that. I'm just saying that this time has been waking up in so many of us along the way for so many different parts of what this time is going to be. So if you think back in the last 6 months, or if you think back in the last year and a half, if you've been on this call that long, if you've been on the call since the beginning, you'll remember that Osairah has been often saying how we're in these stages of the birth process. So what I have been pulling in, and there's been a lot of things. I sometimes wish we could just have a conversation. I could talk with you. You could ask me questions. Maybe we should just do this. How my process works sometimes, how it is that I get information, how it is through sleep, how it is through dream times, how it is through expanded experiences that literally land information into me. And I just become everything moves through my body. So I become consciously aware of it. But I have had to learn how to do that. One of the things that I've gotten in the last 2.5 weeks, when I've been going through so much of this, there's a shift happening, and it's coming. It's like I plug in and I am a precursor. I can feel that maybe even along the way that might be even, acknowledged by other people somewhere, even in different platforms or people who are aware of it too. But I literally feel like I see the whole of humanity pushing to give that one final push and birth this baby, this new life, this new reality, this next golden age, this new humanity. And yet that's just like when a new baby arrives, it is just everything happening at once, and there is no groundedness to it all. And the baby's not even fully here, right? The baby is all in the different realms and getting oriented. And then it's like we create the formidableness of a baby as it grows into being human into the world. Well, we and our collective consciousness, our collective awakening, our collective remembering, our collective activation, that is why we are here, is going to be opening up through all of us which I will say includes people who are going to leave the planet. And, Osairah has never been afraid to talk about death or transition to the next life. Osairah has never been afraid to start that conversation, and really neither am I, because I have faced so much of it that, it's uncomfortable for a lot of people to talk about, but I really feel it's vital for us to face, and it literally sets us free when we do. When I say the things I say, I'm not excluding myself or loved ones or friends or family or people that I know. But the truth is, we are going to radically go through a lot of changes in the next few years. But if we're talking about December, there are definitely going to be people that we maybe already know who've passed on. I do. We might already know, people who are not doing so well through all of this. And, one thing that I've been contemplating too is, how do we support those people when it looks so grim and people are believing in it so deeply into this now reality as the only thing and the only way? Just, love is really, as I continue to say, love is the answer. We just send so much love, and we remind people that the truth of their being as much as we can. And even if you don't get to ever say that to someone, say that to their spirit, say that to their soul, pray that upon them, speak it into the reality of the unified field around them. And then do that with yourself, because we are needing to remind ourselves of the extraordinary support we need to have for ourselves. Another thing is that we are just having had the lunar eclipse a few days ago. What day is this? I think it's the 3rd. So on the 29th and 30th, we had the, depending upon where you are in the world, we had the lunar eclipse. And now we are in between a full lunar eclipse and a total solar eclipse on the 14th. The time between two eclipse cycles is really an intense transformational and transmutational energetic time. So taking that we all understand energy in the unified field and our soul's consciousness being embodied, and that this world, as we are dreaming it and becoming more awake within it, we would do ourselves, our bodies, our consciousness, and all that we've programmed into ourselves to be here now, our favor, by remembering to be good to yourself, by remembering to take it easy, by remembering to love yourself, to give yourself like the kind of love that when the toddler is throwing a fit, you don't scold the toddler. Instead, you pick up the toddler and you just hold them. Even if they're flailing about, you pick them up and you say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. This is what we all need right now. The world at large needs it, because there's going to be a lot of transformation, a lot of transmutation. There is going to be a lot of people who leave the planet. We're going to go through that, and starting in December, we're going to make changes in all kinds of different ways on this planet, because we have been completely plugging into a whole new energetic system. And it's going to take that one, and around, the 21st, which is the solstice, it's going to take that last push. We're going to birth the golden new age. This is like the beginning, in a certain sense, of the Aquarian age. And for a majority of us, I tend to know most people's sort of age range, not all, but most of us were born at a time where that was already our preset program. We're born to be alive at this time, at the age we are, so that we can hold the kind of space, do the kinds of work consciously with the embodiment for what is happening. So it's like, I want so much to remind you, you're right on time. You were born for this. We were born for this. This is perfect. That gives me a great ease a lot of the time when I'm going throughout the days and the weeks and the month between our connection, where I think of how better to hold, the alignments with people, not just in my one-on-one sessions or my mentorship, but how I feel that I'm actually doing that work, even if I'm not even connecting with you or tons and tons of people. Because what I am doing is I am energetically laying the grid work down within my own life, within my own body, within my own consciousness. And I'm learning how to hold new frequencies. I'm learning how to become conscious of the codes that are plugging in on a regular basis now, because the energy is totally different. And sometimes there's transitions with that. Sometimes we have to adjust our food, our sleep, our exercise, our kindness and love to ourselves, our cleanliness of space and boundaries around with people, with the situations and where we hook up, meaning, plug into certain people or energy fields, even being on the computer. It's like, if you've been plugging into something for so long, maybe it's time to let that go for a while and to plug into something else that is a reroute and amplifies and holds a space differently in your field. Excuse me. So I just wanted to get right to the things that I feel like we're coming in the strongest as important understandings and rememberings about how day by day, as you keep moving through, as you keep opening up, as you keep allowing yourself to remember why you are here, to trust the process. So 2020, as we look back at it, you might want to consider how each, stage of this walk, how did you nurture and love yourself through this? How did you trust that everything is in its divine natural it's divine natural order of things, that this time was meant to be, that we are having this happen on purpose. So hold on, let me see something. On purpose. We are on purpose. So one of the things I'm seeing, okay, I'm trying to see, I'll try to get to some of these direct questions. Indeed. Okay. Sandy says it keeps freezing energy strong already. It's such a weird thing. I don't know why it freezes. I have all my things up as clear as can be. Let me check one more thing. Okay, this can go and that can go. Sorry. Okay, just want to see. Maybe that'll make a difference for the freezing. So lots of things over this month that we are going to be sort of, what I want to say is we get to choose what we plug into, right? Some people are living in the mountains and don't see a lot of people. Some people live in the city and see people. Some people are watching the news every day. Some people are not watching the news. Some people are going through healing crises in various different ways. Some people are working. Some people are not. Some people are saying this won't affect me. Some people are saying, oh my God, it so affects me. So the thing I want to remind us is that we are the amplifiers of our thoughts, right? In our field. So, take what works with you in our container here, in our sacred little Light the Way community. Take what works for you and let it be the greatest. And anything that doesn't fit and doesn't work, doesn't resonate, let it go. If you don't even feel like you were born for this time, just let that thought go. Be what it is that you're here to be. I'm going to offer you the kinds of things through this transition, especially in these next few years, especially, and then in the holding of the space as I change, because I already know my own evolution as far as a spiritual soul being consciousness. It's not like, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen, but I do know a certain remembering of my reasons for being here and the trajectory. And very often what happens is I personally, and I don't know how many of you can relate, But I personally have life experiences where either I meet someone or I'm having an experience, I'm in a place, a location, I'm in a situation, I'm in a job, I'm in a thing where I get absolute knowing and total confirmation that I am on time. I get complete signs, I get complete remembrances, I get visual, complete packages delivered to me. It says, you hit the mark, you're right in this. We have these trajectories of life that we are here to choose and evolve through and to. And if we stay as much as we can conscious of our choices, the more conscious you are, the more, even if it's like, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it anyways, this helps us grow. All of those things amplify our experience and expansion. So today, when I was thinking so much about our connection, I kept getting this visual that I have been getting for the last 4 or 5 days. I just keep seeing, and I've been experiencing this overlay of light streaming to our planet. This probably could be looked up in different ways. I don't look it up. I don't get scientific. The closest thing to that is that I listen to some astrology, but I can feel and sense that there's this raining down of new light codes coming to our planet. And so it's sort of like when we do that 8/8 Lionsgate portal. It's like when you feel this, when you intuit this, go and do something that supports it. I go to the ocean and I plug into the water and I pray. And like I said before, I went to Arizona and I was at the hot springs and I pray to the water. I pray on the water. Praying to me is directly using the voice sound connection to the intentionality of the highest conversation I can have. And it's the affirmation of blessings in every possible way. And it's not just for me, it's for the entirety of this experience that we're having on this planet. And, I can even be with people and step aside and do those things. And I can also be right in the moment and be doing it even without having that be a thing. And so as we get better with these kinds of ways of honoring our own system and our own bodies, we can plug in and it amplifies, it wakes us up. It opens up those doors. So collectively, if we can be doing that together, if you can think of your family of light friends all over the planet right now, in this group and maybe in other groups, that we are holding the light for the highest transformation into more unity, more conscious compassion, more care and consideration of others, and how it is that we come into the alignments of what love really is, and it's so not about love as in, even partnership or relationship in the ways of love and romance. It's about how much do we be love in conscious action? How do we consider as much as we can consider? A lot of us go through the various initiations of what that means. Having to experience selfishness, having to experience greed, having to experience victimization, being cast out, all the things, so that we can understand what the totalness of it is really. And so I feel the nudge right now really strongly to go into our conversation. So, wish I could see all of them. I don't know why I can't see that. Here, let's go there. Okay. Hopefully we don't pause on okay. Lots of different things for people. Okay. So I'm Question, how closely are the plans of spirit tied to the present day astrology of the planet Earth? Thank you, Bruce. Well, I think they're personally, I can only give you my personal experience and I guess evidences. I don't know. I really feel that they're completely tied in together. I don't see any of that as separate. I see it all as one unified experience. Astrology, the stars, the earth herself is a living consciousness. And I'm sure, Bruce, you are aware of that and feel that too. That's my assumption. But I feel that, Osairah would say the same thing. I think they've been asked about similar kinds of questions, that astrology is a good guide for all of the things that we are experiencing here on this planet. And, sometimes that is helpful and sometimes it's just not necessary, but it's also sometimes it's super confirmational. So I that's one of the things I love about astrology personally is I feel that it's super confirmational. I can get information about astrology and look back and say, oh my gosh, exactly. It totally was or is that. And that feels very helpful. But I also feel that actually occurs. You can look back if you know the science of astrology and you look back. That's what really great evolutionary astrologers are about, is that they can look back and they can track that based upon where the positions of the stars were at the certain times. You can go back to like 83 BC. I mean, it's just like so crazy. And the events that occurred as far as what, historically we see, or at least has been continued in this history, it links itself up. So I very much appreciate that myself. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I think everybody's been going through pretty radical changes. I know a lot of you, and I know a lot of changes that you're going through. Physically, we're going through a lot of changes. We are upgrading. And so that's why I brought up that point about plugging into the new light codes. It really does help if we meditate. It really does help if we put our face to the sun and just allow the rays of the highest light to come in. It really does help to do the practices, like I said, like self-love, self-care. It really will help this process as we are shifting and changing. And, we'll say this, and then I'll get started with the channeling. And also want to mention that if you have questions, please do put them, both for Osairah and for me, and maybe they're one and the same. We'll see. But I wanted to say too that, I think these times are triggering a lot, going back to that first part of the conversation around death. I think that people are having to face death in regards to losing people they love and themselves. And I think that this is a very strong initiation and important part of the journey right now, because as we are going to shift into this golden new age of the Aquarian consciousness and an air, like we are going to become, it's going to be very different than the Piscean age. The darkness and the heaviness is going to lift. And it is going to be very different, but we are going to be in that transition for a number of years. And as that is occurring, there is going to be a lot of death, and there's going to be our need to face our own potential, like really looking down that corridor so that we can completely embrace life, so that you can live without the kind of fear that not looking at that brings. And that's very important. I live like that. It probably is in my chart because I have a lot of Scorpio, but my moon, because that is the underworld. It's death and rebirth. And to think like that on a regular basis helps us activate how we really want. It makes us wake up. It helps us not stay asleep to living. It makes us say, wait,
is this right? I mean, if next week was my last week, if next month, some of my own physical problems my physical challenges in this last month and two or so have woke me up to how next to face my own living. So that's the other part of it. And when we face these fears about death, we get cleaner. We kind of have to. And so I really want to encourage you to really look at, how are you living? I don't just mean like, what are you eating? Sure, that absolutely. But how are you living? I am really looking, and I constantly ask myself, how are my relationships? How is my environment? How do I feel on a regular basis? And if there's possibilities for you to shift those things and get clearer about what it is you really want to live, project in the next 2 years, project in the next 5 years, project in the next 25 years. How do you want to live? How do you want to be here on this planet? And open up that door so that you can activate your consciousness at that next level and plug into those codes that are coming down to illuminate your consciousness. That's what we're here doing. That's what I'm saying from the beginning of the conversation. You were born for this time. So stir the pot and, get out what does not work and open up to what does, and trust that is what is the part that is next, that like getting rid of things, people, situations, environments. I don't mean getting rid as in casting it out in the negative way. I mean saying, oh, thank you very much. It's time for this to be done. And I am going to trust that the highest order is coming from me, that I am in alignment. And this feels the most true for me. So wherever that can apply, even if it's a small thing, because there are those small things that feel like really big things, like clutter or too much stuff. Like I have this desire to get rid of everything. And then I just start going through a little bit of things. And I have this issue. I'm like, oh, I can't get rid of that. It means, all of these little things that everybody has their own version of. That's just mine in this moment. So, letting go of what doesn't serve and accepting that, because you were born for this time. That's a key right now as we keep growing and expanding. Okay, my friends. So I was having a conversation with Osairah a bit this morning when I was getting ready. And I said, basically, will you slow it down? Because I feel like we need to receive, and also my physical is just saying, hey, slow down. So I know they know what I need, and also I acknowledged what I need. So I've asked for today's conversation to be a very loving and supportive and slower in the way that they're delivering. Sometimes they're so intense and fast, and that's perfect. And at the same time, sometimes that's a lot both for me and also sometimes for people. So I wanted to just let you know that I wanted to open up this part where we connect with Osairah in a way where maybe it's going to be even better for you to receive what they say, how they give, what the energy attunements are. I was feeling a lot of codes. Like I keep saying, they're like these sound vibrations of higher light, and they literally look like light to me. And then at the same time, they have a vibration and a signature. And I've been feeling these coming into my energy field for days. And sometimes it gets to be too much, and I have to figure out a way to kind of decompress my energy and sort of shift out so much, because it's a lot to hold. So as we go into this part here, I'd love for you to sort of open up your field. I'm going to just ask you to say, I open up my field, and you're receiving the highest and the best from all of this transmission.
And if it feels right to you, you can even like lay down and listen. But you can also just sit right up and just, go into a meditative state and connect. So I'm excited for today. Okay. Yeah, they're just so ready. Okay. Indeed, greetings to you, dear ones. We are that one known as Osairah, and we are in fact overjoyed to be in this alignment with you. We are, as always, recognizing this connection. We are, as always, recognizing the field of the vibrational connection of our beloved channel. We are recognizing the ways in which this conversation has begun. And we are excited too, you could say, at the opportunity as to participate in the field of your awareness at this time. There is an up-leveling. There is a extraordinary up-leveling that is occurring upon your planet. There is an extraordinary expansion. It is an amplification of expansion for all beings. Let us say that again. It is an extraordinary amplification of expansion for all beings who are participating to remember and hold the key codes of higher light and consciousness. There are those who are not in that awareness, who are not operating at that level, and there is not a distinction of judgment there. It's just as it is. Just as there are flowers that are blooming before the other flowers on a vine, does not mean that the vine is wrong or that the plant itself or the flowers that bloomed before the other ones are wrong. You see, it is to say that all is in consciousness, perfectly in its divine right order. And there is an amplification happening for some beings at an extraordinary accelerated rate, and that is per and towards the timing of their divine orchestration. We are needing the attunement here. With the energetic signature that is happening upon your planet, there are many times where the slowing down is required. We are wanting to support that reflection by being this way with our beloved channel for many beings to have the awareness of. What we mean by that is there is a frequency that is occurring upon your planet that can literally help to accelerate your gifts, talents, and awarenesses. What we mean by that is that there is a frequency activation that is occurring upon your planet that is moving those beings who have a higher consciousness of a lighted reasons for being on the planet to hold a higher frequency. And if that energy is plugged into in the rightest ways, then that amplification can participate with you in a conscious way. So we are being in a living example of that with and through our beloved channel at this time, in order to hold that you see and visually, emotionally, energetically, and auditorily understand that there are many frequencies that shift around you all day long, that you are either being unconscious or you're being conscious of that. When you go through a life with your full presentness, you can plug into the awareness that is happening in and of you and around you with a more focused intention of the wholeness of your being, the holiness of the consciousness that is moving through you. It is quite often difficult for our human friends to be that present, that the egoic constructs of who you think you are what takes over. Oh, I am uncomfortable. This makes me feel like this. I don't like this. Oh, I've got to do this. The 10,000 page list that you have about the things to do or be. When you slow all of that down enough to come into right relationship with the inner beingness of that which you truly are, not the egoic constructs or the identifiers of who you think you are, the identities of that which has been put upon you, you believe who you think you are is what you are. And we're saying, step back from even that. Step back and question. There's an energetic alignment that is happening that is making the frequency. We are going to adjust that with our beloved channel. So that we may become more precise in the conversation. That is what just occurred before your eyes, is that you are witness to the fine attunements and adjustments that can be had within a body consciousness if one is aware. What we would say to you is that to peel back the layers of who you think you are, your name, your place of residence, your family situation, all of the experiences you've had as the ideas of who you are. There's a really key point there. All of the experiences of what you have lived is what you believe that you are so often. And we would say, peel that back. Can you strip that back? And here's why. Because if you can peel back the things you think you are based upon what has occurred to you, through you, for you in your lifetime, you can step through and out of that identity and stand in the consciousness of what is here. That is very different from what it is that most are doing. That is for those who have the eyes to see. So that is a phrase we see is said, and we have even said it because we want you to understand that if you peel back all that you've thought you've been at the level of egoic identities and identifiers of who is in this life, you strip it all back, you come directly into alignment with the source that is interconnected to all that is at all times. This is extraordinary. This is extraordinary living. This is not about the things you think to do, to be, to create in the world, to make happen, to make of word, abundance, money, manifestation, to create what you think you want. That's not what we're talking about here. What we are talking about here is how it is you come into the true source of your being, how it is you reveal the essence of the light consciousness that you are. And there could not be a better time for that work as now, for that revealing as now, for that centering as now. Peeling back these layers of consciousness means to look into all that you have believed as who you are, as what you are, as how you operate, as what this world even is, as you are in it. We are wanting to really amplify with you at this level now, because those of you who are here and are present in this now moment are recognizing the amplification through your consciousness. And some of you are paying large strides of attention into the now present moment of all that is. It is as if many of you have eyes in your entire body being. You are seeing much, much more. You are seeing the realities as they are, and you are not becoming as triggered by it. That is the next phase. To not become so amplified in the triggering is what we would say a wonderful next practice. A wonderful next attention to. That those things that are happening are still going to happen. What needs to occur for all beings is going to occur for all beings, including you. But that you can trust what is occurring with you. By putting your attention on that, you amplify that, you release what does not serve. We always talk about that. We will always bring you back to that, because the truth of 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 it is, you are source, energy, consciousness, embodied. You are a part of the wholeness of the oneness of all creation. And that is the oneness of your totality that you are paying attention to a lot of the time. But you have these covers over yourself. So you say you are these things, that thing, this thing, these identifiers, these constructs of belief. And where we are bringing you this day, this moment, this piece of the conversation is to hold a new idea. It is to hold a new concentration for the times that you are going to walk yourself through to. We see it like a beautiful new doorway, or as our beloved channel said, and we have said too, it is that last push and then into a golden new age. This golden new age does not magically appear. You live in what looks like time experience. The manifestation is only a mind construct in and of itself. You are the beingness of all that you experience. You are the allness of what you create. It begins within you. It is within you first. And then it seems to magnetize out into the reality of life. Many of you at this time, in this period of numbers of months, 6 months to 9 months to a year to 2 years, 3 years, have been in the word a holding pattern. You have been still growing. You have been still awakening. You have been doing your works. And many of you in the last many months have been in what we would say is you feel as if you're in a holding pattern. And rightly so, because it has been that you are growing those last pieces of the totality of your being. You are coming to understand what it is you are pushing out into and what it is you are here for. When you listen to the inner beingness, when you really listen to the truth of your being, dearest ones, you already know. We hear some of you say, I already know what, Osairah? So much. You already know it all. You know the trajectory. Like our beloved channel was speaking on. You know so many of the stages of your own life. You've already had it in many ways. Like you could say the words are precognized. You've already laid it out for yourself. And yet the grand and great mystery you play with yourself is that you don't remember. But we would say this time in so many ways is not just what even we have said is, and we do say it is, a time of the great awakening. But more importantly, we would say to so many, this is a time and the time of the great remembering. The remembering of that which you do not want to repeat. That you have lived, a remembering of that which you have already lived thousands of times, and how much it took to get you to be here, embodied at this time, in a kind of consciousness that helps to amplify a golden new age, a time where light will reign, a time where unified fields of consciousness will join and create and multiply and become more and hold a greater consciousness for love, for unification, for compassion, for those within all that is, because that is what you all are. This time of seemingly separation will have to take its adjustment periods. And as you amplify to experience yourself becoming greater and holding more and awakening to more, much will drop out. It will just become a nothingness. It will dissolve within. And the truest aspects of your being will come to the forefront. The truest consciousness will align and awaken. to the remembering of why you are here. Our words this day are very precise and specific, and here is why. It is that you are walking yourselves through new doorways, and it is that you are taking up the mantle of your being. It's a kind of call to the higher order of the life you have chosen to live. And that's what so many are doing. So many are learning how even to clear away that which does not serve, to stand at the forefront, holding the mantle of what it is that their highest embodiment, their highest consciousness has come here to live, to be, to emanate, to reflect, to hold the mirror up to for so many else, so many others who are here to see, feel, and know that, and then carry that into even longer and more, and years and years and years and years to come upon this living consciousness life, as you understand it, called Earth. In this realm of Earth, you are here to advance your own soul's growth of remembering that you are the totality of oneness, and that in that totality of oneness is source, source that is all that is, source that is all that is. As you awaken and remember and remember and remember that, and the more that you embody and embody and embody that, means you must clear out what is not that. So there we come back to taking off the layers of the identities of that which you think you are. And yet, what is so interesting for you is that you can do that while still being human, while still being human-bodied and enjoying being human-bodied. It is to take on joy for being in the human embodiment. Words. Our beloved channel, we see having traffic and driving, and yet focusing on the pink rays over the mountains called the clouds and the skyline. And we see that moment where joy filled her whole heart, her whole body, and smile just broke forward on her face because she was literally plugging into the pink, beautiful skyline and mountains rather than the traffic. And her daughter looked at her and said, "Oh, it's so pretty, isn't it?" And she says, "Yes, it's so beautiful, like heaven on earth." It matters how you feel and activate what you plug into. All things are a creation of your own inner life. So then we say, when you notice that is what you are able to be doing, able-bodied to be doing, you can choose joy in all situations. You can choose the beauty of life, even in the depth of the darkness of grief and tears and sadness and loss. You can still choose beauty and the joy and the extraordinariness of life embodied. When you be doing that, dearest ones, what then starts to occur is you see what it is you are not. Oh, and that is the good bits, we say. As you begin to self-reflect, as you begin to say, how is it that I am that construct that doesn't seem to fit anymore? Can I let that piece of me go? Can I acknowledge, witness, and say, thank you very much for all that you have served and been to me, but now no longer do I own you. Do I hold you? Do I want this to be that which I am? That construct can be released. Thank you. And what comes in is the awareness of the fullness of that which you are, which is truly light, love. You are love at the consciousness level of all that is. You are in every way love embodied. You are at every level the source of love. That is what is creation. These are the best languaging words and tools to offer reflection about what this is, because you are in a kind of dimensional frequency that is still unplugging from an old system. The new dimensional frequencies that are landing, that are participating, that are coming to your planet are activating this call. They are activating the jump up, the up leveling, the rise in consciousness. They are activating it. This is what is that you see as is occurring. And as it is occurring, you are being called. You're being called to listen to what is operating the system within. Like what we see is been mentioned here. Is it fear? Is it worry? Is it doubt? Is it taking personal responsibility for others where you have no ability to take personal responsibility for anyone else? You can be of loving service. You can be of assistance and help, but it is not that you can ever take anyone's personal autonomy and take personal absolute responsibility for another being. Even your own children, if you have children, is that you are a participant in the evolutionary walk of that soul. Many of our human friends have brought up the idea that that can't be true for a 4-year-old or a 7-year-old, that I could give them their own autonomous freedoms to be personally self-responsible. Well, of course, we understand the care and consideration that a younger bodied being needs, the support to learn how to grow into living. But at the soul level, you cannot ever take personal responsibility for that being. If that being has some form of a course in their lifetime, such as illness or choices that they are meant to go on, that is not your personal responsibility. They will, even with your influence, do exactly what it is that they are meant to do. And that is the key. With beings' influences, you help the unified field. So yes, anything and everything you add in as a parental supporter to your child is helpful, but that does not determine it. That was also meant to be, you could say. Now, we know we get into some interesting conversation bits right here. So we're going to bring it back to your own individual personal responsibility. Because if you examine and example your own personal responsibility, if you examine your own, and then you examine and example that for others, they then know how to do that better for themselves. Ultimately, that is what it is plugging into the unified field of consciousness upon this earth realm. These dimensional attunements that are laying in consciousness at this time, and they are that. They are bridging this experience. They are helping people take the steps up, the up leveling. And some would think, oh, I'm going to take this big step up. No, we would say, just take the step up. Just take the next step up, and the next step, the next step, the next step, the next step. And sometimes it won't even be an up. It'll just be the next step. And here's why we say that. So that the amplification of your own consciousness can keep up with the present moment, incorporating all that you are. You don't want to go seemingly too fast. You don't want to seemingly skip ahead as if you could. What we are saying is being right here where you are helps you determine and decipher what is the truth of my being. Clearing out what no longer serves you helps you reveal what serves you. Being rigorously, unabashedly honest with yourself, though as scary and painful as that sometimes can feel, when you move through your absolute truth, you have the next level. You have up-leveled to your own next level of liberation. And there is nothing better for souls than that. The spirit of you, the eternalness of you, the consciousness of you is here to expand, to know all that you are in the fullness of the body consciousness of being human. This time is an extraordinary accelerator for that. So what that means in some practical senses for our human friends as we see you now, we say this: be gentle. Be very, very gentle. Very, very kind. Be in kindness to yourself. Be in kindness to others. Witness the pain and the fear in yourself, therefore you can see it in others. Witness it in others and then ask, is it there within me? The pain and the fear, the worry, the dread. That is one of the things that is amplifying so contrastingly. It is created in the contrast. You are having the experiences of so many beings being in fear, worry, concern, dread, outright terror for life. Can you relate? Have you ever felt that way? Could you ever feel that way? If one of your own was going through that, would you understand? So as you see that, have compassion, have kindness, have understanding, have love for understanding how difficult it can be to not see through the illusion, how it is to see so thickly that this is the illness that there is. To believe that these things are so utterly and absolute would be pretty terrifying, we know. So we're reminding you and pointing you to the clarifications that what seems so solid is not so solid. And as you begin to contemplate that, as you begin to work with your own layers of the thickness of that which you have held to as the constructs of the belief systems that you think you are not the things you think you are. You are not the constructs of belief that you have even experienced. Even though you experienced them, they have incorporated into the body, but that is not the essence of who you are. And yet, what is very vital too at this time is that what has been occurring with you that has been stuck in the body consciousness is also purging. It is also clearing. It is also that you are coming to awaken to the times that this is for you to say, I have had these experiences stuck within my body consciousness, my body beingness. I have incorporated that I believed that these things were the absolute truth of me, the I am presence. And we are saying to you, not so. And as you begin to see that yourself, there's a radical change. There is a shedding. There is a purging. We know it is not always easy. We do see how it is that you go through the stuck parts where it feels so real, and the purging and the releasing are not as flowing and easy as you might like it to be. When it is like that, surrender. Surrender and know there is a greater totality. We say it with love and joy. We literally say it with love and joy. Surrender when it is most painful and difficult, to know and trust that though you are going through these next layers of the purging and the releasing, the identifiers you have held to that believe who you are in this physical incorporation, that somewhere inside of you, there is that part of you that knows. And we say that with so much joy, that knows you are more than this body even, and you thank and love the body as it is purging. You know that this body is doing what it needs to do in order to evolve the consciousness through it. That is an extraordinary landing place. That is a surrender that feels so much more liberating. It is not a surrender as if there is defeat and you have been overtaken. It is a surrender into the heart of Source, into the love essence of the truth of your being, into the totality of essentially what we would say is immortality. You are never ending. You are the eternalness of the wellspring of love. In many ways, this offering and this reflection, teaching, guidance, and illumination that we are giving you this day is a small segment of what is occurring. Here you are in this particular galaxy with life as you are experiencing, in some ways for so many, thinking that this is all there is. Oh my goodness, one would say. Because in the reflection of this one galaxy, of the Earth dimensional frequency you are experiencing, there is also a part of you. There is a part of you in the now moment that is coming to remember and realize that there is so much more. And so much more of your consciousness is here, really, truly here, and is plugging into the body, the biosphere of this body consciousness to amplify and hold this new light. And that is where we wish to pause. To hold this new light is what you are here adjusting to. So do it with your full-bodied consciousness. Meditate, go into silence, listen within, call to the higher truths of the streaming light codes that are happening within you. First, even before you even consider that they are coming to you, although that is a body consciousness of the oneness of the totality that is happening even now while you are being aware of the oneness within. There is all that simultaneously happening. And if you will allow yourself to be in silence and use what you have as an amplifier called this body consciousness, breathing deeply, amplifying, holding and remembering I am lightness of love and being, a consciousness of remembering. If you breathe these words in, if you breathe in and allow for yourself to hold that you are a biosphere of consciousness in and of yourself, you can remember the totality of what you are not. And that is where we will remind you to remember to be in the totality of all that you are while you are shedding what you are not. What does it mean to shed that you are not? It means that you remember that this life has brought you to the exact moment of where you sit, so that you can be awakened and aware of a more conscious, identified awareness to all that is within this body mind. This is what it means to hold light. This is what it means to live in living light. This is what it means to remember your allness. This is how you go about it. These have been, in certain ways, perfect instructions for each and every one who will hear these words, because they will lay in perfectly right where you are. Work with that. Be with that. Anchor the light body consciousness to that which is a physical incorporation of all that is here and now, that you have come to be. It matters not what you think you're supposed to do. It matters what you be and do. How it is you be and do that. How it is you remember to hold your light, your love, your care, your kindness, compassion, and consideration. And that begins within. We see that many of you seem to, at times, do that with and for others, while negating that you do it, need it, and have to have that there first with you. If you are not doing it with you, what does that mean, doing it with you? Being love, being lightness, being care, compassion, consideration, being goodness upon yourself, loving this one, remembering you're here for a higher purpose of the soul's incarnation. So you're willing to sit with all that you are first. If you are remembering this, then the authenticity of being that for others will come through. If it is not first known and felt within you, it is also a put on to others. And it feels there's a disconnect. So being it with you, then practicing it by being it with others is what is the bridge. That is what is created through what we would say you all are understanding to be the service to others. To be of service to others gains you that you're practicing it with yourself and you're giving it to others and it comes back to you, and you're practicing it with yourself and you're giving it to others and it's coming back to you. It is a beautiful bridge. It is the synastry that creates the flow and that literally amplifies the field of the totality of love and light that is here to be born again on this planet through beings, through the earth, through the light codes of consciousness that are here to activate into a new world. You are learning how. You are becoming what you have come here to be. You are coming into the fullness of the totality of the reasons you created this life as you are living it. One of the things we say now as we recognize this heart-centered stream that is beaming to each and every one of you is that what you are experiencing in your life, really and truly take ownership, really and truly take responsibility, really and truly say thank you for what it is, where you sit. Really love it. Don't let the mind, egoic constructs of, I think I should have more. I think it should look better. I think it should be this way. What if it's wrong? What if it's this way? Should be on and on and on. One of the things we see to say so succinctly to you is bless it right where you sit. Bless every moment as you are in it. See it as good and very good. See it as perfect and very perfect. See it as the way and more of the way. Because right where you sit is where you have gotten yourself perfectly. It is not judged. It is that it has brought you to exactly what you need, how you need it. You, dear creatorship that you are, beyond creatorship, you are the seed of all that is. You are the light construct of the birthing of all dimensions that are potential right where you are now. You are all adding into the pot. No matter what your storyline looks like, you are all adding in to the equation of a new world being born into reality, constructions of a new creation of timelines where many of you shall come again and see the fruits of your own works and your own labor. Here in this life where we sit with you in this moment, where we reflect to you how it is that you are walking, know that as you move through these next weeks, disruptions will occur and you can hold your own. Sit down, be present, be within, connect to source. Remember that this is just but another one you have walked. When we say that, hold to remember that there are beings out in the physical world as well as beings in the seemingly non-physical world that are supporting you, that you are protected, that you are safe, that you are loved. And we mean that literally, even when it looks like maybe I'm not so safe, the words would be. We say that literally for those who might be walking through the gate of the next life, that you are safe and protected and loved. We mean that for any being who is transitioning in any way through this experience, in any way, who is facing what they are facing. You yourselves here in this moment, in the conversation with us now, attuning to a higher frequency, wherever you are and whatever you are facing, it is the perfection of your own creation, and bless it as good and very good. For then you free up that energy to hold in with the non-physical beings and the physical beings who are doing the same highlighted consciousness expansion evolution that is happening on this planet. And there are millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of souls embodied doing this work. There are billions of you holding the light. There are more than that, it matters not the numbers, who are participating in invisible ways, that are participating at the highest light, because this cannot be stopped. It is the ushering in of the timeline of great change, and it is most beautiful. And yes, you will go through some of those difficult passages. And when you do, when you feel the disruptions, when you feel the, it's so good, and then it's not so good, which is potential, hold into the same space. Come back to your center. We are not saying these things just to make you feel good. We are saying them because they are truths, irrefutable, that can work for you at the higher levels of embodiment. We are saying them so that you can own your personal responsibility as an incorporated soul in a physical embodiment to up-level your own consciousness and hold the light of love. The more of you that do that, 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 the more of you that do that. And what we see, dearest ones, we have been, in a sense, as so many say, walking you home for so long, because you are the ones. You are in a time where this great change is required. And the more of you that center into love, into your own heart, with the full, complete, absolute, incomplete, embodied trust, the ease, the grace, the synchronicities, the alignments of perfection will show up and give you the evidence of how perfectly on track you are. And when you feel that, you can just walk about the world, seeing it as it is, and yet awakened to it as it is, knowing that you can trust it, knowing that you can be in perfect harmony, and that even when disruptions come, or what is seemingly to be death comes, when there are many great changes that seem to occur that might scare many, we say you can center and trust the process, because you know you have worked and aligned and peeled back and become the one who is here to be now. You have become and incorporated light and love. This is the answer. This is the way, dearest souls. You are here to amplify. You are here to expand consciousness through your living embodiment. And the more of you who take up that mantle and literally stand for that light, it matters not what it looks like. It is what occurs through that changes everything. And when you decide, and you do decide, to move out of this physical incorporation, you will know it is a work well done. You will know I achieved what I came to do, be, live, incorporate, offer, shine, share, give, and transform. You will know that your hard movements through passageways that seemed unfair were the perfect opportunities for the expansion of the soul that is so extraordinary as the consciousness that you are. And you will remember exactly, clearer than any other day, why you came. Meeting yourself in that way now. Expanding yourself in that way now. Being the shedding now, so that you reveal the truth of your being in the fullness of the totality of all that is what is called for as you make your way through what looks like this grand and glorious change. And that it is. We are what we would say, if we could give it emotions that we would have, we would say, we are so proud of the ways that you have walked through this particular passage. This transformational, transmutational year of your experience as you perceive it. We say, we understand how you live it. And when we look upon the journey that brought you to this now moment and what is to come in the next 35 days of time is going to wake you up. And that is a good thing. Hold your own. Remember who you are. Remember why you came. Remember you are supported. Remember there is no thing ever to fear. Remember why you are here. And be the living embodiment of that. It is rarely a thing you have to go out and do and achieve. It is what you become within. And everything magnetizes to that. It literally is a collaborative co-creation of the reality of that embodiment that we said at the beginning. You are the expansion amplification. You are it. Center into the heart of love. Center into the heart of compassion. We say it again and again. We say it again and again. We've been saying it for so many years in different ways. But it is because we are teaching, guiding, and reflecting. We are literally guiding you to the amplification codes of your own call. We are dropping in exactly what it is you asked for. And when we do it now, we know that it lays in on the perfect alignments of the grid of the consciousness of that which you are. We look to this moment as a way forward. We see how you are stepping through the doors and you are making that last push together. We say we see how it is that you are holding the future in your consciousness and awareness. Choose light, choose love, choose unity, choose compassion, choose kindness. And when the smaller parts of you start to throw a fit, when a part of you says, no, I don't want any of that, when that comes forward, love that part. I know, you say. I know, you say. It's okay to have that fit. It's okay to feel those ways. And watch that density, that darkness, that connection of the ways it has been for so long to just shift out. It's like an unwinding, dear friends. You are unwinding the past timelines. You are unwinding your past traumas of the human experience. You are unwinding thousands of years of heaviness and darkness, which was meant to be and is changing. You are unwinding your own consciousness to remember the fullness and the unification of the united field of that which you are a part, that you are of, that is here for the glory, for the transformation, and for the experience. You are great teachers to yourselves and to each other. You are great guides to yourselves and each other. You are the oneness of totality of love. You are literally source. And source says to you, to us, to all that we are, you are loved. You are protected. You are safe. There is no thing to be in non-safety with. You are light. You are consciousness. And in this way, the embodiment shifts. The mind thoughts shift. Go within to the heart of your being and listen deeply, for you have mapped out your journey, dear souls. Trust, trust, trust. We absolutely will be with you. All we are holding the light vibration. There are legions and legions and legions of beings of light who are participating at this time on this planet. Plug in, ask, and align with those beings and us. We will be with you. We look forward, as always, to more and bid you the most loving and magical and happy adieu. Hi. Wow. Welcome back. I hope that was really helpful. I do see that there's that question. Thank you. Oh, that's weird. I'm just getting back here, you know. And for many of you, I know that there is quite an adjustment there too, because you go as deeply as I do. I do realize that there was no questions. I can feel that. And I really appreciate that question, Alana, because I felt that they were going to give us a frequency code. So that's really interesting. I really felt like there was going to be, you know, one of the frequency sound that comes through. But if it didn't come, then maybe it's meant for another time. I really felt there was going to be one. So maybe we'll do another, it'll come another time. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Leanne. Yeah, right. Wow, I just feel the adjustment there. I feel the adjustment that they did, and I really hope you all did too. I want to say that I really feel so strongly that we need to listen to that a few times this month for sure. One of the things that I'm seeing right now, which is very interesting, is I'm seeing sorry, I'm just not quite all the way rounded, like a stand with a book, and the book is green. And I'm seeing like the book, like a really thick book opened up, and the whole book is like glowing a green. And I am wondering if they're showing that to me right now as sort of a like the book of our heart, or information that's awakening and illuminating in a new way. That's really an interesting visual, because it's really strong and really, really clear. It seems like it's also like in a temple space, or like a really sacred place. So maybe it's the book of our own heart and our own wisdom. This feels like it's an activation for that individually. So would love for you all to, listen 3-4 times throughout the month, maybe take it on as much as you want to, obviously, but pulling the book of life is how it seems to be, with this green, maybe heart, consciousness energy, and consider that that's what's being read to you or given to you through them and their transmission today. That felt really beautiful. I hope it felt beautiful to you too. I know that there's a lot of, so many shifts of energy. So supporting our bodies and supporting our, meditation and our inward experience. And like Alana had asked for, like the frequency codes, very often those are those high-pitched sounds that they bring in. Even if you want to play with that yourself, attuning our bodies and our minds and our spirit and our energy and our field. Wow, I'm just getting so much stuff through the energy of my ear. It's, I don't know how to describe that, but it's like, it's almost like, I used to have this a lot in the beginning when I was first learning to channel with them. It's almost like you're going through different altitudes, like if you're in a plane, but they're really in the inner ear, and they just constantly keep changing. And that's definitely an attunement. So if you ever experience these things, like when you're meditating or you're calling in the light and you have different sensations through the body, just open up yourself to the flow of the frequencies shifting you, because we tend to get little like locked down, and we get a little like tight. So my point is like, open up your body, open up to the infinite intelligence all around you, open up to nature, open up to the earth, open up to your own breath, open up to sounds, of course, music that makes you feel good, sounds and frequencies that attune your body and like, sort of like torque you into the new expanded experience of yourself. I mean, we can only do these things for ourselves first. Yes, we can teach and offer that to others as we learn how to do it ourselves. I mean, that is what I do. But at the same time, it is our responsibility to do it for ourselves. So it's like one of the traps here, I think, in our digital age, especially because we're now, especially right now, I don't see this as forever, but is that they're just clearing that energy, is that this sort of idea that we can just listen to somebody else and then get the thing. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can be affected. I have been affected by being in an experience with a really high vibrational beings and physically being with them, and then other, interdimensional beings, and being really affected. But it requires our practicing with this. It's not like you just listen to a call once a month and then you're like, I'm good. I'm saying we have to do the inner work of the prayerfulness, of the intentionality, of the breath, of the expansion, of the calling it in, of listening to things that support. That's why I'm saying this for this particular, all of them are always great. You can always go back to your recordings forever for the other months, But this one, for this ending of our 2020, which for so many of us has just been so crazy, which has just been so insane and painful and hard and a challenge. And, some of us have been smoother with that process than others. It doesn't really matter, but we need to do the work. We need to practice. We need to remember that we are responsible for ourselves. And for me personally, sometimes I get pulled in so many different directions that I just say, oh, I'm getting it through osmosis. And then something will get my attention. It's like, okay, you've got to do something for yourself that really puts you back into the alignment. You have to do the work in a different way. I'm doing the work in a very specific way that is kind of an automatic thing where I'm just always aware of things. It's just like this container of I don't know what to call it, but sometimes like last month I was aware of feeling like awake in the dream was such a phrase I was saying. And I use certain phrases at times as the work. So it helps me adjust my vision, right? It helps me do the work in a different way. So that was one of mine last month, especially, but I still carry that one around right now for sure. To be awake in the dream means to just, for me personally, I think you should find your own, what does that mean to you? How do you wake up in the dream? And how do we hold the kind of consciousness that I feel was the direct line that they gave today? Wow, that was so beautiful. I hope it was helpful to you all. And for this month of December, how about if we pull one of the really magical Work Your Light cards? Last month we had such a good one. Well, wow, that's interesting. Last month we had the same card. I think we've had this card many times. I didn't shuffle a lot, but that's okay. The ever unfolding rose, cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. Oh, I do think this is perfect for us. Again, the ever unfolding rose, cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. And then, if you can believe this, the age of light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. Wow, you guys, I mean, come on. How beautiful is that? The age of light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. Wow. We are the ever unfolding rose, cracked open. It's happening for us, not to us. And we are the age of light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. Okay, those two right there are just so good for December, right? So I really wish you all a wonderful Christmas season and a wonderful December and a wonderful winter solstice and a powerful and beautiful alignment and wonderful transition through this eclipse season where we go from the lunar eclipse into the solar eclipse, which happens on the 14th. And then the 21st is the winter solstice, and quite a change point. We're going to give our last pushes and birth together. I usually do a solstice. I did the summer solstice. I did the equinox, and I don't do anything until I get the push and the pull. But I have been feeling to do the 21st. I know that there will be a lot of things happening on the 21st. So I'm trying to figure out how to put that forward and open up a special sacred place where we're all, in a unified field for the highest push into the golden new age and coming together. So be on the lookout for what that's going to be. And I would love for you to be there live and in person with me. So I just send you all so much love, and I hope that you have a wonderful December, and I look forward to seeing you in January of 2021. I love you all. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.